Hey, John.
That's all right. That's a good way to end it.
John, you don't want to play me in the playoffs now. You see who I picked up on the waiver wire?
Yeah. I never do that, man. I usually I'll get up like 155 to 50, and then the guy's got 2 players left, and he still beats me. That's usually what happens.
Yeah, I dropped like 5 guys this week. I literally overhauled my whole roster. I got Heineke starting for me now. So.
Oh, wow.
Hey, guys, I got to go. Thank you, guys.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks.
All right, brother.
How you doing, Bob? How you feeling, man?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Yesterday was ugly. Yesterday was.
Hold
I
on.
was
Do you want me to
tired.
stop recording? I am recording.
Oh,
You want me to stop?
I don't care. I'm good. Doesn't matter. Yesterday I was tired. I fell asleep in a meeting. I had an hour and a half meeting about a deal we're working on, and I held it together for the first hour and 15 minutes, and my head nearly.
Normally stay awake for?
Oh yeah. I'm normally wide awake for those. And I just finally crashed about an hour and 15 minutes in. My head almost hit the keyboard. And so I figured I just left the meeting run, and I sat down on the floor back here behind my desk. I thought I'll just sit here and listen. And the meeting ended 10 minutes early, and I didn't hear the end of the meeting. And I woke up about an hour later. It just slammed me. And so today I drove down to the clinic, and when I get there, they're like, "Hey, did they call you?" And I went, "No." Like, "Oh, the machine's down, but you'll have to reschedule in the back." So I went to the back, and my name was on my doctor's list.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Time out.
What?
You showed up and they said, "Hey, did they call you?" Well, if they had called me, my ass wouldn't be here.
No. In fairness to them, they did call me. I was upstairs brushing my teeth and putting on a different shirt to look presentable in public, right? And I didn't check the message. I didn't check my phone to see if anybody called in the 3 minutes I'd been out of my office.
Yeah, but the point is, if I had gotten a phone call, I wouldn't be in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. So when I got to the back, my name was on a list that my doctor had left with the gals for people that could cancel today, and then add a session on at the end of my scheduled treatment run. So I went and found my doctor, and we talked for a few minutes, and he seems to think that it was probably a pretty good thing for me. Some of the side effects have gotten a little annoying at this point in time, and he thinks that's going to help. And the machine's still down tomorrow, so I've got to go in like 6 o'clock tomorrow night instead of tomorrow morning. But other than the fatigue and some annoying side effects, I'm doing all right. It is what it is. Today would have been halfway. If I'd completed today, I'd be halfway done.
Jesus, that was quick.
Yeah, well, I only have 20 sessions, so
yeah.
That's about the minimum I've ever heard of anybody having. So apparently I've got a pretty treatable case. I've talked to a number of the other guys. They run people in and out of there like clockwork. I don't know what the place, when the machine, except for today when the machine was down, the place runs like a Swiss watch. It's just positively breathtaking, the efficiency that these guys operate with. And so I don't know a lot of the guys that are in treatment with me. I think 3, 4 maybe, because some of them will show up really early, and so they're sitting there while I'm sitting there waiting their turn after me. But I've got the fewest treatments of anybody I've met, and not by a little bit. The next nearest guy is 30 treatments, but he's 71, and more advanced than I am. So yeah, I'll take it. I'm done October 8th. The doctor kind of freaked me out on Monday. He's like, yeah, by January, you should really start feeling like yourself again. The fatigue should be gone. Oh, it's like, January, dude, I got a football season to get through. Come on, man.
I got a podcast to record, man.
Exactly. I got podcasts to do, but I'm good. Thanks for asking.
That's good to hear.
If there's fatigue, brother, it doesn't sound it in your voice. You're doing great.
Today, I feel really good, Mark. It's the most inconsistent thing in the world. when it shows up, it's never the same time every day. It's not even every day. Some mornings I get out of bed, it feels like my head's full of fog and it takes me 3 hours to get going. And other days I wake up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and I'm out on my feet at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I was in bed the other night by 8:45. But yet the night before that, I'd been up until midnight. It's just the most bizarre, inconsistent thing in the world. And I'm sure not putting any money on anything because I can't predict it. And I think maybe not having treatment today probably contributes to how I'm feeling tonight. Although it may have been those homemade carnitas I've been working on all afternoon that were pretty darn awesome. Thought about you tonight, John. You like those? I might share the recipe. I don't know. I've got pictures. I'll put them up on the Gastropub thread.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Do it up.
So I had a weird message this afternoon. You remember how I mentioned Posse Lover had not logged in? I don't know if you guys know this. I think I've told we're recording, so I probably shouldn't talk about this. I'm not going to
stop. I can pause recording if you want.
Yeah, pause it.
Did you guys see the list of who got added to the Hall of Fame nominees?
No, I did not see that.
London Fletcher, Brian Mitchell, Matt Turk.
Matt Turk.
Wow.
Our last All-Pro before Brandon Scherf.
I don't think Matt Turk's getting in my lifetime.
I don't think so either, but
There's still only one punter, right?
Both Fletcher and Mitchell should be in the Hall of Fame.
Isn't Ray Guy the only?
If you don't include Mosley, yes.
No, the only punter.
Mosley was the punter.
Huh?
Right?
I don't remember Mosley punting for us. He was a place kicker.
No, not Mosley.
Mike Bragg was our punter back in Mosley's
Hold on
day.
a second.
Ray Guy.
Now my brain starts working correctly.
Because I always thought Bragg was a great name for a football player.
Yeah, I just remember when Ray Guy went in, they made a big deal about how it was.
Yeah, he's still the only one. He's still the only.
Not Mosley. Jesus, man, oh my God! Now my brain.
And I don't necessarily. I mean, Guy was good, but I'm not sure he's the best punter in the history of the league.
No, Sammy Baugh still holds that distinction, I think, doesn't he?
Baugh.
Yeah. Sammy Baugh led the league in punting and
Baugh.
he did
I
everything.
don't know why I said Mosley. Baugh was our punter.
He did that with a bunch of drop kicks on third down too.
And
he was our full-time punter.
He also led the team in interceptions. I mean, that guy was nuts.
Well, Tress Way might be the next one. The way he's
That's
going.
way.
Yeah, no doubt.
That guy's money.
We take him for granted, man.
Why Brian Mitchell is not a Hall of Famer is completely beyond me. And
Special teams bias, man. It's ridiculous. That guy was the most electric player of all time.
He affected more games than 98% of the people that played.
Isn't Steve Tasker like the only pure special teams player in the Hall of Fame? I think he's like it, right?
Well, and Ray Guy.
Well, Ray Guy, yeah, but I'm talking about non-specialist.
It's kind of ridiculous, man. That's one of those it's one of those Hall of Fame voter biases things and I don't think many of them get nominated, but it's a pretty important part of the game. You think they would. I don't know why they minimize it so much themselves,
I hate the idea of quotas or the like, but I almost feel like there needs to be minimums instituted. For each Hall of Fame class, there needs to be a minimum one special teamer, a minimum one defensive player, and a minimum one offensive player. And then you can do whatever you want to do. But I don't want to see any more of these classes where it's, 5 guys that all played offense and put up ridiculous passing stats in the modern era after the game was modified to make quarterbacks untouchable and wide receivers gods. It just, the stats are gaudy, and they're gaudy for a reason. A lot of these guys wouldn't have anywhere near these numbers if they'd played even 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago. Forget playing back in, the early 80s when Lester Hayes had stick 'em from head to toe and lived inside your jersey for the entire game.
He was giving him the business.
Oh, I'm telling you, or go back further than that, and you've got oh crap, who's the guy that I can see his picture, perfected the head slap, and he'd come up and slap the ear hole of the offensive lineman.
Deacon Jones, right?
Deacon Jones, that's it.
Deacon Jones, yeah.
Just knock him silly. I mean,
Former Washington Redskin, by the way.
Yep. So there are 5 special teamers in the Hall of Fame, and none of them are anything other than kickers. Ray Guy, Morton Anderson, George Blanda, who was a quarterback but a kicker late, Lou Groza, the toe, and Jan Stenerud.
Well, I believe Morton Anderson only made it because he reached the all-time scoring record, correct?
Yeah.
Did he not have the highest? He hit that number for the most highest scoring of all
I
time.
think
Yeah,
so. He
but that's
kicked for
because he played till-
16 seasons in the
I
NFL.
was going to say he played until he was 62 to get that
Yeah.
record.
So if Mitchell gets in, I mean, it'll be as a returner, but I mean, he's also a running back. He was a decent running back too. He didn't get many chances.
So
He
I
was
just
He
want
was
to
a
also
good
played
in.
quarterback.
I just want to
And
mention
the
one thing that's
quarterback.
not related to the Hall of Fame at all and see what you guys think. I thought that I know people are like Dustin Hopkins. What does Mike say? Get rid of him. I think that second kick was like the ballsiest kick I've seen in like 20 years. Can you imagine that
Already
game
missed
at
it.
home? You're
Already
about to
missed
go
one,
0-2.
and then you have to go do it again.
And then you have to do it again, and you put it right. I mean, and I know Mark said it was going right. It was going right.
It
And then
was.
God nudged it on in.
He
But I
kicked
just-
that thing, and I sat on the couch and went, he's going to do exactly the same thing on the second kick he did on the first kick.
The wind
Yeah.
shifted, my friends. The wind
So-
shifted and blew it back in.
I don't know how those guys do it, man. I'd literally be having a bowel movement
Did
right
you
there.
see
on
his
the-
body language before that second kick? I watched the replay earlier today on just the condensed version. He looked like a beaten man when he was lining up for that second kick. His body language was all wrong. I thought for sure he was gonna miss it today on the replay.
And John, to build on what you said in regards to the stones that he showed making that second kick, I thought it was absolutely awesome on the part of Rivera to give the guy a game ball. You want to talk about mind games? Those are mind games at their finest. You know, he's saying essentially, great job, kid. You got us through it. But at the same time, he's giving him a stark reminder that we got our eyes on you. I thought it was great. I thought it was a piece of coaching brilliance.
He was in tears when he handed him that ball. And Heineke, I don't know if you know, in the game when he threw the interception, it looked like he was in tears. So I don't know if that's a good thing.
He
or not,
looked
but
defeated.
I love that kind of emotion, even if it's after a horrible play.
Right. So before I go any, but one other thing to the Hall of Fame, not to reverse. You know who else is eligible for the Hall of Fame this year? Who has been nominated? Devin Hester. If Devin Hester makes it in before Brian Mitchell, does the Hall of Fame?
You know what they'll say? They'll do the same thing that they did with Monk. Why didn't Monk get in all those years? He didn't have the signature plays, the splash plays. Hester had nothing but splash plays.
Yeah, he was an all or nothing kind of a dude. I mean, he was electric. There's no question about it. But
Even as a returner, he doesn't. His accomplishments don't hold a candle to Mitchell.
No,
And
not
he's
no,
one of
not
the
the
best
raw
returners of
numbers.
all time. Huh?
Not just the raw numbers. No, I'd say that would just all be about a half dozen splash plays that Hester made on Monday night when everybody was watching. Mitchell did it for 16. I don't know how many years Mitchell played.
So here's the true
He
test.
produced every year.
Here's the true test. If Hester makes it and Mitchell doesn't, then you know exactly. You can't argue the Redskin bias at that point. Not in my opinion.
Now, I hear what you're saying. I think I'd put at least as much on it on the splash thing. I heard so much about that when we were campaigning to get Art Monk.
Brian Mitchell
Yeah.
had plenty of splash plays. The guy
It's the demeanor, and he didn't.
2 touchdowns a season.
But the weird thing about Mitchell is Mitchell does have the swagger. I mean, Mitchell's got a mouth. He's got the swagger. He has as much attitude as Michael Irvin did in his prime, even when he was playing. I mean, he's still got it. And I mean, the thing is, he backs it up. So you would think he would be the kind of player the NFL would want to recognize because he was that kind of, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do in that game, and then I'm going to come out and
I'm
do
going to do it, and you're going to like it.
I don't know, man. So he's not like Monk in that way because, I mean, he
Was there
definitely.
ever a quieter man in the NFL than Art Monk?
Not many.
No,
Not many.
not really.
You know, I
Not
mean,
that we're on the same. Not that we're on the same level.
he
There
was
were plenty of quieter men in the NFL, but not that we're that good.
he was the absolute definition of letting his play speak for him.
I mean, he's like, I'm just trying to think back. Maybe Warren Moon. Like, did Warren Moon ever run his mouth?
When not having been in the town where he played, who knows? But I mean, I think of guys like James Lofton was a class act.
That's true.
But we would also. I mean, I wasn't in Buffalo.
Lynn Swan, kind of same kind of a guy, right? I mean,
Drew Pearson, and I'll tell you what, the campaign for Pearson's been pretty fierce in Dallas. And I felt for years he got jobbed by the Hall of Fame just as bad as Monk did, actually worse, because he had to wait for the senior committee to put him in.
What do his numbers look like? I don't even know.
He made it, right? He made it in this year.
Yeah, he just got
Yeah.
in, right? This year, last year. And to be honest with you, Mark, I don't know Pearson's numbers off the top
I'm
of my
working
head.
on
I
it
just
right now.
remember him consistently scoring against us. And
I
it
mean,
really
Pearson's
hurt.
numbers aren't gaudy.
Yeah.
He didn't even hit 8,000 yards.
Yeah, but
16, but he averaged 16 yards a catch. That's
What's
huge.
the reception number? Just the raw number. Catch
Just flat out receptions, 489.
489.
yeah, that's a
Well,
little low. But
That's
even
why.
so, I
That's
mean,
half of what. That's less than half of guys like Rice and Monk, right?
well, yeah, but
Oh,
Pearson
yeah,
was
Monk-
also done by the time Monk started. I mean, he
Yeah.
played in the 70s, and
Very
he
true.
played before they really started opening the passing game up in the NFL.
Very true.
Also, Monk had 940 for over almost 13,000.
We have to adjust for inflation.
Yeah, he also played for Tom Landry, who's famous for saying, what, 3 things can happen when you throw the ball up, and 2 of them are bad.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
No, Danny, no.
Pearson played until 83, and Monk got drafted in 80.
80? I didn't
Yeah.
realize I thought he was 81, but I guess that's Darryl Green.
Yeah, that was
No,
Daryl
Green was 83.
Was he? I thought they went year after year, but I guess not.
Green was
Hold on, let me
after
look.
we won the Super Bowl against
Let
Miami.
me look. I thought Green was 80. Yeah, Green's rookie season was 83.
Yep.
Okay.
Guys, I got to cut out, man. Sorry to be the lame one tonight.
All right, fellas.
See ya.
Well, I'll
See
tell you
you.
what, I'll use that as a cue too, gentlemen. Let's
All right, boys. Good night.
Thanks, guys.
Fun,
Mark.
Paul. Need to
You guys
learn
rock.
again
You guys
how
have a
that-
great night.
you too.
All right, boys.
Bye.